wing beats, footsteps. Traveling here, you are in good company. Our story of Tetlin National Wildlife Refuge and Valley of Great Migrations begins 25 to 30,000 years ago, during the last ice age, when much of Alaska was an isolated grassland, blocked from the rest of North America by continental ice sheets, but connected to Asia by dry land. Hardy peoples from Siberia migrated across the Bering Land Bridge into Alaska. Eventually, the climate warmed and the ice sheets began to recede, opening paths for migration into the rest of the Americas. The early inhabitants left stone tools in this valley, some dated to 13,000 years ago, the oldest ever found in Alaska. The peoples who stayed developed elaborate trade routes and social networks. Via these trade routes, white man's goods came to this valley long before the newcomers themselves arrived. In 1885, the U.S. Army sent Lieutenant Henry Allen to reconnoiter the Tanana River Valley and meet its people. Geologist Alfred Brooks mapped this valley in 1898, aiding gold prospectors streaming into Alaska. Military road crews, not bombs, ushered in World War II here. They carved a rough and raw Alaska highway along this ancient migration route. Surveyors, engineers, and the First Peoples all recognized this as a natural travel corridor. Military pilots, like migrating birds, also followed this same route, stopping often to refuel, ferrying aircraft bound for the Russian front during World War II. Migration, flight, rest, travel. In this valley, that's the rhythm of life. And that rhythm is embodied in Tetlin National Wildlife Refuge. Driving the Alaska Highway, you travel 65 miles along its northern border. Tetlin, established in 1980, joins 15 other national wildlife refuges in Alaska and more than 550 in the United States, devoted to meeting the habitat needs of birds, fish, and mammals. Together, refuges work to ensure that future generations will inherit a thriving wildlife legacy. Tetlin Refuge shares this valley with newcomers and with Athabascan Indians, modern people whose ancestors walked this land for millennia.
Our Athabascan elders reach across time to record their Diné-In place names on refuge maps and pass on their story. Generations of knowledge about local plants and animals are woven into our birch bark baskets, stories, songs, dances, and beadwork. Starting in the Wrangell Mountains to the south, braided threads of glacial rivers meander through refuge lands and merge to form the mighty Tanana, traveling west to the Yukon River. Salmon rarely swim up this far. Instead, Tlung or the humpback whitefish sustains our local need. To unravel its life's secrets, fishery and refuge scientists pooled their expertise with that of local Athabascans who have fished these waters for generations. Together they confirmed that Tetlin hosts two of only a few known plume spawning sites in all of Alaska. They also tracked its migration through this valley between spring-feeding lakes, fall-spawning tributaries, and larger, deeper rivers, where the whitefish lives under the ice. Winter on Tetlin Refuge is notorious, often the coldest temperature in Alaska. Everyone, humans as well as animals, must adapt or risk frostbite or worse. Most residents continue to be active at least to 20 below, just more bundled up or fluffed up. Daylight is precious, no longer taken for granted. Winter solstice has the most appreciated 4 hours and 45 minutes of the year.
The Aurora Borealis rewards those who endure. Owls and other night hunters have extended hours. All other animals are racing the clock to find enough food to keep warm through the 19 hours of darkness. Some will slow their metabolism and lower their core temperature to make their calories last. Many stashed food during the summer as insurance for winter survival. Caribou traditionally migrate through the refuge in early winter. Recently, more caribou are remaining here until returning to their calving grounds in spring. Spring comes to Tetlin with a splash. The sky echoes with welcome voices, old friends. Sandhill cranes, those long-distance flyers, pause on their way from Texas to western Alaska and Siberia, where they will nest. All sizes, great and small, migrate along this corridor, using the refuge to rest and refuel. For trumpeter swans and more than 100 other kinds of birds, Tetlin is their summer destination, their maternity ward and nursery. Formerly threatened, trumpeter swans and peregrine falcons are prospering here. Refuge scientists cover many miles to count a sample of birds nesting in these wetlands and to monitor their success at raising young, a health check, so to speak, when numbers are compared with past years and trends elsewhere. Why do these birds, some weighing only a few ounces, fly 3,000 or more miles to nest and raise their young in Alaska? It's a three-part recipe. 1, abundant real estate in the form of vast protected wetlands, forests, and tundra. 2, extra long daylight for rapid growth of food sources. 3, a superabundant banquet of healthy food, insects, plants, and fish, served up just when each bird or animal needs it. But climate change may be disrupting that perfect timing. Refuge scientists are investigating rusty blackbirds whose numbers are declining. With warmer springs, are birds arriving earlier, nesting earlier? When it's time to feed hungry chicks, is adequate food available? Is the hatch of damselflies now mismatched and out of sync?
Rusty blackbirds have declined by 90% across their range. Tetlin supports the intact boreal wetlands that they depend on for breeding and raising young. However, climate change research now suggests that the boreal forest may decline by almost 70% by the end of the century.
Hotter summers, drier weather, and lightning may combine to ignite more wildfires. The boreal forest is adapted to fire for renewal. Black spruce cones, for example, need intense heat to open. As part of fire management on the refuge, every fire is monitored. Blazes far away from people and structures are left to burn to generate new wildlife habitat.
And the way these kind of work, so they'll hit the net, and when they hit it, of course, they'll go
Tetlin
forward like
Refuge is also an outdoor classroom. Local children learn firsthand about forest habitat, birds, and migration by accompanying the refuge staff at work.
that. Down here. Just kind of open up that top hand and it'll take off.
Just open your hand up. Cool.
Since 1993, biologists have netted and banded over 40,000 birds that funnel through this busy corridor starting at the end of July, after they finish nesting. The information collected here and at a network of similar stations in Alaska reveals the diversity of birds flying to the state and helps to estimate population trends and the number of chicks raised each year. Like the birds that stop on Tetlin Refuge during migration, you are invited to pull off the highway, stay a while, experience what you've traveled so many miles to enjoy. The refuge offers 2 campgrounds on quiet lake shores. During the summer, rangers share their local knowledge at evening wildlife programs at Deadman Lake Campground. Stretch your legs on the quarter-mile Taiga Trail or on the Seton Roadhouse hiking trails. Stroll the mile-long trail to Hidden Lake, where rainbow trout and a small boat await. Or have a memorable outdoor adventure in the refuge's 700,000-acre backcountry. Early and late in the day, patients at the photo blind near Lakeview Campground may be rewarded. At the refuge's visitor center, the view is expansive, the exhibits informative, and the ranger staff helpful in answering questions. Curious about something you see as you drive? Look for highway pull-offs that have interpretive signs, or stop at refuge headquarters in Tok. Crisp, golden mornings will signal a rising flood of southbound migration that flows through this valley, in the air, and on the highway. Young birds hatched elsewhere in Alaska or in Siberia are on their first cross-continental flight and need safe and frequent rest stops. The lakes, forests, and marshes of Tetlin Refuge welcome weary travelers. Having this national wildlife refuge to rest and refuel improves the odds that young birds will successfully reach their winter home, a home that may be as far as Central or South America. The migration corridor through Tetlin Refuge and the Upper Tanana Valley has been recognized as globally significant under a worldwide important bird area program. For those who stay in this valley, these are the last busy weeks to stock up before winter. Wildlife scientists have completed their summer studies and begun analyzing the data and preparing for winter surveys. The last of the summer's highway travelers are taking advantage of peaceful lodgings in Tetlin's campgrounds, savoring the essence of wild Alaska a trip of a lifetime. A journey through a valley of great migrations.